In recent years, Taiwan has been swept by a craze for elevated skywalks in scenic areas. More than a dozen such skywalks have been built in just 6 years.
Even though they're touted as a way for tourists to get close to nature, ecologists say they cause serious damage to ecosystems and don't help local economies as much as advertised. Let's take a closer look at the debate around skywalks in our Sunday special report.
The walkway on this vertical precipice is said to be the most hair-raising in Taiwan and draws hordes of tourists. There used to be an ancient pathway on the rugged cliff here in Fengbin Township, Hualien. The spot was recently pressed back into service at the local tourist industry's hour of need.
Thinking about the public purse, of course the government should make more use of it. If you don't develop it, tourists won't know it exists.
As high as a 17-story building and with sweeping views of the sea, the walkway attracted a tourist influx that brought Fengbin's tourist industry out of its doldrums.
I also hope the media can help us change the way people refer to it. It's an ancient seaside walkway. It's not a skywalk, which is a popular term on the internet nowadays.
But whatever you call it, the transparent glass walkway is certainly riding the coattails of the skywalk craze.
Of course, walkways should just be an accessory to the main attraction, which is the natural world. But we flipped that around. Now people think that skywalk is the main attraction. And if you ask tourists what they saw, they might not have seen anything else.
Environmental groups are concerned that restoring the scenic old walkway has actually created new conflicts with the ecosystem.
They chose to build the walkway with reinforced glass on the seaside cliff, so that cliff itself is prone to rock falls which can smash the glass. Then there's the fact that the glass walkway is extremely difficult to maintain. It gets very slippery when it rains. If you don't clean it regularly, once it gets covered with moss, it's no longer transparent. So managing and maintaining a skywalk is actually very costly.
Trying to make the most of the skywalk craze, even Jiayi County Commissioner Helen Zhang herself made a video to draw attention to a newly constructed bridge in her county.
I think it's connected to the construction paradigm in Taiwan. Local leaders like highly visible construction projects. Such projects make an impression on the public.
It was in order to make more of an impression on local residents and tourists that the Changhua County government spent almost 90 million NT on a skywalk in the area's most famous and historic tourist spot, Bagua Mountain. Originally, the walkway was designed to enable visitors to roam the forest and experience the treetops firsthand. But no attention was paid to ecological conservation during its construction. 65 ancient trees were cut down, a horrendous result for one of Taiwan's most precious and unique ecosystems.
There are many birds of prey here. Even hawks fly through Bagua Mountain. This is their most important resting spot on their migration across Eurasia. Now you suddenly destroy the skyline. High up there in the sky, the hawks have very sharp eyes, and they can see that disturbance, so they don't come over.
When there are thousands of people moving around there in a single day, the wildlife in the treetops will move away from the area because of the human disturbance. Wanting to look at the ecosystem of the treetops is a very anthropocentric idea. The reality is that the wildlife will decide to leave of its own accord. That's before you even mention how, after a year, there will be fewer visitors. What are you going to do about this thing which is left sitting in the middle of nature?
Of course people want to see the beauty of the natural world, but we have to think about whether we want to destroy the natural world in order to take a look at it.
Less than 2 years since its opening, visitor numbers at the Bagua Mountain Skywalk have already plummeted by more than 70%.
如果你有更好的规划的话。
With better planning, once I've crossed the skywalk, I can see a tea plantation, some cherry trees or camellias. I can make a circular walk and then leave, go somewhere and come back. We call this creating a recreational or aesthetic experience. But I don't think it's very meaningful if all you do is walk from one end of the skywalk to the other and take a photo on your phone.
Some say that trying to revive tourism with skywalks will inevitably lead to ecological damage. The idea that they can magically fix local problems may be no more than a castle in the air.